I thought escaping rehab would be the biggest mistake of my life. I was wrong. Within a few hours, I'd be trapped in a snowstorm with strangers, discover a kidnapped little girl locked inside a van, and realize the people smiling at me were willing to kill anyone who got in their way. Before the night was over, I'd be fighting for my life against kidnappers, corrupt accomplices, and the darkest parts of myself. My name is Darby, and this is the night I learned there was truly no exit. The story begins inside a rehabilitation center, where I'm trying to overcome my drug addiction. Recovery has been difficult, but I'm doing everything I can to stay clean. During one of our group sessions, a nurse interrupts and asks me to step outside because I have an urgent phone call. The moment I answer, my entire world falls apart. My mother has suffered a brain aneurysm and has been rushed to a hospital in Salt Lake City. My sister, Devin, is already with her, and the doctors aren't sure she'll survive. I need to get there. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to leave rehab. Later that night, I secretly call Devin, hoping she'll understand why I have to come. Instead, she makes it painfully clear that she doesn't want me anywhere near the hospital. Years of addiction have destroyed the trust between us, and as far as she's concerned, I've already caused enough damage. Her words hurt, but they don't change my mind. I sneak out of the facility, steal a nearby car, and begin driving through the freezing night. As the highway stretches ahead of me, memories I wish I could forget start creeping back. I remember the night I overdosed in a car while my mother and Devin desperately tried to save me. That single mistake shattered my family, and now I'm terrified I'll lose my mother before I ever get the chance to make things right. The snow grows heavier with every mile until flashing police lights appear ahead. An officer explains that the storm has become too dangerous and every road leading to Salt Lake City has been closed. He directs me to a nearby visitor center where stranded travelers can wait until the weather improves. I don't have a choice. Frustrated and exhausted, I drive to the small visitor center hidden in the mountains. Inside, I find 4 strangers already waiting out the storm. There's Ed, a retired Marine who carries himself like someone used to taking charge. His wife, Sandy, is warm and friendly, and she mentions she once worked as a nurse. Then there's Lars, an awkward young man who barely makes eye contact with anyone, and Ash, who seems relaxed enough to make jokes despite the blizzard outside. At first, everyone appears harmless. While washing up in the restroom, I check my phone one more time. Another message from Devin is waiting for me. She repeats the same thing. Don't come. The guilt is almost unbearable. For a brief moment, I take out the small packet of cocaine I secretly brought with me. The temptation is stronger than ever, but after staring at it for a few seconds, I force myself to put it away. I refuse to throw away everything I've been fighting for. Hoping to find a phone signal, I step outside into the freezing parking lot. The storm drowns out almost every sound. Then, I hear something. A faint cry. At first I think the wind is playing tricks on me, but the sound comes again. This time I'm certain. Someone is calling for help. I follow the noise until I reach a parked van. Peeking through one of the small windows, my blood runs cold. A little girl is tied up inside. She's terrified. I immediately try opening the door, but it's locked from the outside. Thinking quickly, I take a photo of the van's license plate before whispering to the girl that I'll come back for her. My first instinct is to call 911. No signal. I try sending a text instead. Still nothing. That's when a horrifying realization hits me. The owner of this van has to be inside the visitor center, which means one of the 4 strangers I just met is a kidnapper. The moment I walk back inside, I force myself to stay calm. If I accuse the wrong person, that little girl dies. I quietly study everyone in the room, looking for anything that seems out of place. To pass the time, Ed suggests we play a game of cards. Everyone gathers around the table, laughing and making small talk, as if we're just a group of strangers waiting for the storm to end. I play along, but I'm not interested in the cards. I'm trying to figure out who's capable of kidnapping a child. While we introduce ourselves, I remember the photo I took of the van's license plate. It was registered in Nevada. Then Lars casually mentions he's from Nevada. My attention immediately shifts to him. He already seemed nervous when I arrived, and now every little thing he does feels suspicious. As the game continues, he becomes increasingly frustrated with his terrible luck. Without warning, he throws the cards across the table before awkwardly apologizing. Everyone brushes it off. I don't. The more I watch him, the less comfortable I feel. Using the game as an excuse, I excuse myself and head toward an out-of-order restroom. The moment I'm alone, I try one last time to contact the police. I type out an emergency message explaining that a kidnapped child is locked inside a van outside the visitor center. I even attach the license plate photo. I hit send. Nothing. The message refuses to go through. The storm has completely cut us off from the outside world. No police. No phone calls. No help. If that little girl is getting out of here alive, it's going to be because of me. I search the abandoned restroom until I find a hammer. Using it, I pry loose one of the wooden boards covering a maintenance opening in the wall. It's barely big enough to crawl through. I squeeze inside anyway. Carefully making my way behind the building, I circle around until I reach the van again. This time, I manage to force the door open with a thin metal bar. The little girl looks at me with terrified eyes. Without wasting a second, I climb inside and start removing the tape binding her hands. That's when I notice a medical bracelet on her wrist. Before I can read it, footsteps crunch through the snow. Someone is coming. I throw a blanket over myself just as the van door slides open. It's Lars. He kneels beside the little girl and speaks to her as if everything is perfectly normal. He calls her Jay. Listening from beneath the blanket, I realize this isn't some random kidnapping. He's taking her to someone he calls Uncle Kenny. My stomach tightens. Whatever is happening, it's bigger than I imagined. For a moment, Lars suddenly stops talking. Silence fills the van. Has he noticed me? I barely breathe. Then he shrugs it off and says he's going to get Jay something to eat before stepping back outside. As soon as he's gone, I quietly slip a small box cutter into Jay's hands. If I don't make it back, she'll at least have a chance to free herself. I carefully climb out of the van and begin sneaking back toward the visitor center. Just before I reach the building, Lars returns. He notices fresh footprints leading straight to the van. His expression changes instantly. He knows someone has been there. I quickly disappear through the maintenance opening and crawl back into the restroom. Seconds later, someone starts knocking on the door. It's Ash. He asks if I'm okay. Panicking, I pull him inside before he attracts more attention. I don't know why, but something tells me I can trust him. Before I manage to explain anything, the restroom door suddenly opens again. Lars. Thinking as fast as I can, I grab Ash and kiss him. The unexpected moment catches Lars completely off guard. Clearly uncomfortable, he mutters an apology and walks right back out. The second we're alone again, I tell Ash everything. There's a kidnapped little girl locked inside the van. Lars is involved. And he probably knows I've discovered the truth. Ash is stunned. For a few seconds, he just stares at me. Then he grabs a nail gun from a nearby maintenance cart and quickly comes up with a plan. I'll lure Lars outside. Meanwhile, he'll tell Ed everything. With Ed's military background, we'll finally have someone capable of helping us. It sounds risky, but it's the only plan we've got. Taking a deep breath, I step back into the storm. I walk straight toward the van. Exactly as expected, Lars follows me. Inside, Jay looks up at me and quietly asks where the men who took her are. Not the man. The men. Every ounce of hope I had disappears. There isn't one kidnapper. There are at least two. As I glance back toward the visitor center, I see Ash standing outside with Lars. The two of them aren't arguing. They're talking. Then, they exchange weapons. Ash takes Lars's handgun. Lars takes the nail gun. My heart sinks. I didn't trust the wrong person. I trusted the worst one. The moment I see Ash holding Lars's gun, everything finally makes sense. I hadn't found one kidnapper. I'd found two. I slowly back away from the van before either of them notices I'm watching. My only chance now is getting back inside without revealing what I know. Ash and Lars return to the visitor center only moments after I do. Ash walks straight toward me. His smile is gone. Without saying a word, he grabs my phone and starts scrolling through it. My stomach drops as he finds the emergency message I tried to send to 911. He deletes everything. Then he keeps reading. Within seconds, he's looking through my conversation with Devin. He now knows my own family, doesn't even want me around. Instead of mocking me, he quietly asks about my father. The question catches me off guard. I hesitate before admitting the truth. My father died by suicide years ago. Ash's face doesn't change. He calmly raises the handgun and points it directly at my head. For the first time that night, I genuinely believe I'm about to die. He keeps asking questions, almost like he's trying to understand how broken I really am. Desperate to throw him off, I accuse him of being a child predator. Ash doesn't react. Instead, he tells me this isn't personal. It's business. According to him, Jay's father is incredibly wealthy, and they'll receive a fortune once she's returned. Then he points to the medical bracelet I noticed earlier. Jay has Addison's disease. Too much fear or stress could kill her. Ash blames me for making everything worse. I don't believe a word he's saying. Whatever this operation is, it's far darker than a simple ransom. Before he can say anything else, Sandy interrupts us. She asks if she can speak with me privately. Ash leans close enough for only me to hear. If you tell them anything, he doesn't finish the sentence.
He doesn't have to.
I already know. Everyone inside this building will die. Trying to hide my fear, I follow Sandy into another room. She immediately notices something is wrong. Instead of asking about the storm, she gently asks about my mother. The kindness almost breaks me. I tell her my mom suffered a brain aneurysm and that I'm trying to reach the hospital before it's too late. For a moment, I consider telling her everything, but Ash's threat keeps echoing in my head. I stay silent. We return to the others as if nothing happened. Outside, the snow continues to fall harder. Then I notice movement through one of the windows. Jay. She's out of the van. She actually escaped. At the exact same time, Ash notices too. Lars bolts out the front door without saying a word. Inside, Ed immediately realizes something isn't right. The calm atmosphere we've all been pretending to maintain finally begins to collapse. I quietly head toward the restroom, hoping to find another way outside. Before I reach it, Ash grabs my arm and forces me inside. The door slams shut behind us. Without warning, his hand wraps around my throat. He lifts me against the wall, squeezing harder with every second. My vision begins to blur. Just before I lose consciousness, the restroom door flies open. It's Lars. He's breathing heavily. Jay escaped onto one of the hiking trails. They need to find her immediately. Ash throws me to the floor and rushes out after him. As they leave, something small falls from Ash's pocket. A car key. Neither of them notices. I quickly grab it before following them outside. The three of us head into the snow-covered forest. Ash and Lars order me to help search. I have no intention of doing that. Instead, I shine my flashlight directly into their faces. Both men instinctively shield their eyes. A gunshot explodes through the darkness. The bullet misses me by inches. I lose my footing and tumble down the icy hillside. Pain shoots through my body as I crash into the snow below. I don't move. Above me, Ash and Lars search the darkness, convinced I couldn't have survived the fall. They move farther down the trail. Only then do I finally allow myself to breathe. Back at the visitor center, the gunshot has already reached Ed. Trusting his instincts, he grabs a flashlight and heads outside. Not far from the trail, he finds Jay unconscious in the snow. Without hesitation, he carries her back inside. The moment Sandy notices Jay's medical bracelet, she understands the little girl needs treatment immediately. A few minutes later, bruised and freezing, I make my way back to the visitor center. I tell Ed everything. The kidnapped child, the van, Ash, Lars, every horrifying detail. He doesn't question me for a second. He simply starts preparing the building for siege. Outside, Ash and Lars are already walking back toward us. And this time, they aren't pretending to be friendly anymore. Ed wastes no time. He drags heavy chairs and tables against the front entrance, turning the small visitor center into a makeshift fortress. I help him barricade every door we can, while Sandy stays beside Jay, trying to keep the frightened little girl calm. None of us know how long we can hold out. Outside, Ash pounds on the front door. Open up. His voice echoes through the storm, but nobody moves. Ed steps closer to the entrance and warns them to stay back. Ash laughs. He isn't convinced. For several tense seconds, neither side makes a move. Then, Ash changes tactics. Instead of threatening us, he shouts that Jay is seriously ill and needs her medication immediately. I look at Sandy. As a former nurse, she's visibly shaken. She knows Addison's disease isn't something to ignore. For the first time, doubt spreads across the room. What if they're telling the truth? Ed isn't convinced. Neither am I. Then I remember something. Ash and Lars still don't have their van keys. I pull them from my pocket and show everyone. A smile crosses Ed's face. For the first time all night, we actually have leverage. Ed walks toward the door and yells our offer. If you want your keys back, throw the medicine inside. Silence. A few seconds later, Ash and Lars walk away. Nobody inside celebrates. We're all waiting to see what they'll do next. A minute later, they're back. But they aren't carrying medicine. They're carrying a gasoline can. My stomach drops. Ash begins splashing fuel across the front of the building. The sharp smell fills the air almost instantly. They're going to burn us alive. Ed quickly tells me to hide every set of car keys. As long as those keys stay hidden, Ash and Lars can't escape after killing us. I rush toward the restroom and bury them beneath fresh snow just outside the building before slipping back inside unnoticed. When I return, Sandy is becoming increasingly anxious. She grips a can of pepper spray so tightly that her hands are shaking. Then something unexpected happens. Jay slowly opens her eyes. The little girl looks directly at Sandy. Sandy. The room falls silent. Jay knows her. Confused, I look between them. Sandy lowers her head. The truth finally comes out. She works for Jay's family, not as a relative. As a housekeeper, flashbacks begin connecting everything. Sandy watched the kidnapping happen. She wasn't one of the kidnappers, but she never tried to stop them either. Ash had promised her enough money to solve every financial problem her family was facing. She convinced herself it was only a ransom, that Jay would eventually go home safely. She wanted to believe nobody would get hurt. Now, she's no longer sure. Outside, Ash finishes pouring gasoline around the entrance. Inside, panic spreads. Jay clings tightly to Sandy, completely unaware that the woman she's trusting helped make this nightmare possible. Ash shouts through the door again. He's losing patience. Ed refuses to respond. Seconds later, flames erupt outside. Orange light spills through the windows as smoke begins creeping beneath the doors. The visitor center is becoming an oven. The heat rises quickly. Everyone starts coughing. Just when it seems things can't get any worse, Sandy suddenly turns toward the door. Then she screams. He's bluffing. Ed doesn't have a gun. My heart sinks. Ash immediately stops hesitating. The front door bursts open. Before I can react, Sandy sprays pepper spray directly into my eyes. Blinding pain explodes across my face. I collapse onto the floor, unable to see. Ed stares at her in complete disbelief. Why? Sandy breaks down crying. She explains that her family recently lost everything. Their savings, their future. Ash promised enough money to fix it all. She tells herself she never meant for anyone to die. But it's too late. Ash and Lars storm inside. Ash tosses Jay's medication to Sandy and orders her to keep the little girl alive. Then he finally tells her the truth. There was never going to be a ransom. Jay was never going home. She's being sold. The room goes completely silent. Even Sandy looks horrified. She realizes she didn't help stage a kidnapping. She helped a child trafficking operation. Everything she believed was a lie. Desperate to undo her mistake, she begs Ash to leave with Jay and spare everyone else. Ash simply asks one question. Where are the keys? Nobody answers. Ed looks straight at me. His eyes say everything. Don't tell them. Ash raises his handgun. One shot echoes through the building. Ed collapses instantly. For a second, nobody moves. The man who had protected us all night is gone. And now, there's nobody left standing between us and the monsters. The gunshot leaves my ears ringing. Ed doesn't even get the chance to defend himself. 1 second he's standing beside me. The next, he's lying motionless on the floor. Ash calmly lowers the gun, as if he hasn't just murdered an innocent man. For a brief moment, even Lars looks disturbed. This wasn't how he expected the night to unfold. Sandy stares at Ed's body in complete shock. She finally understands the truth. Ash never planned on leaving witnesses alive. Panicking, she raises the pepper spray and empties it directly into Ash's face. Ash jerks backward, screaming as the burning spray blinds him. Before anyone can take advantage of the distraction, Lars rushes forward. The spray catches him too. Now both kidnappers are temporarily blinded. It's the first break we've had all night. Unfortunately, it doesn't last. Ash fires blindly. The bullet tears into Sandy before she can escape. She collapses beside Ed, barely able to breathe. Despite everything she'd done, seeing her like that is heartbreaking. She made terrible choices, but she never imagined they would end here. I dive toward the fallen pepper spray, hoping to use it myself. Ash reacts faster. He kicks me across the floor, grabs the canister, and points his gun at Sandy. She pleads for mercy. Ash doesn't hesitate. Another gunshot. Sandy falls silent forever.
2 people are dead.
Only Jay and I remain. Ash grabs me by the arm and drags me across the room. Before I can fight back, Lars pins my wrist against the wooden wall with the nail gun. Thunk! A nail drives straight through my wrist and into the wall behind me. Pain explodes through my entire arm. I scream. I can't move. I can't pull free. Blood runs down my sleeve as Ash turns his attention back to Lars, whose eyes are still burning from the pepper spray. The two of them disappear into the restroom, so Ash can help wash the chemicals from Lars's face. For the first time in minutes, I'm alone, pinned to a wall. Every movement sends another wave of pain through my body. I look around desperately. A hammer lies just beyond my reach. So close, yet completely useless. Then I notice Jay. She's watching me. Trying not to alert the kidnappers, I quietly ask her to help. The frightened little girl crawls across the floor and pushes the hammer toward me. Just before it reaches my hand, footsteps. Ash and Lars are coming back. Jay quickly backs away while I hide the hammer beneath my leg. Neither of them notices. Ash walks straight over and grabs my phone again. A new message has finally arrived. It's from Devon. My heart sinks before I even finish reading it.
My mother's gone.
She didn't survive. For a few seconds, the room around me disappears. Everything I fought so hard to reach. Everything I risked tonight. It was already too late. Ash watches my reaction, but doesn't offer sympathy. He only asks the same question. Where are the keys? I stare back at him in silence. He isn't getting an answer. Suddenly, my phone vibrates again. This time it's different. The emergency text I tried sending hours ago has finally gone through. The police are coming. Ash sees it too. For the first time all night, he's the one who looks nervous. Knowing time is running out, he grabs Jay and presses the nail gun against her arm. She bursts into tears. I can't let another innocent person suffer because of me. I finally give in. I tell Ash the keys are buried outside near the restroom. Ash immediately rushes into the storm to find them, leaving Lars behind to guard us. Lars is visibly shaken. Ed is dead.
Sandy is dead.
The entire situation has spiraled far beyond anything he expected. I realize something. Unlike Ash, Lars still has a conscience. I quietly lean toward Jay. Turn off the lights. She looks confused, but trusts me. Slowly, she walks toward the switch. Lars panics. He orders her to stop. The moment the room goes dark, I act. Ignoring the unbearable pain, I slam the hidden hammer against the nail pinning my wrist. The nail loosens. I rip my hand free. The pain is almost enough to make me pass out. But I don't stop, because this is the first real chance I've had to fight back. The nail tears through my skin as I yank my hand free. The pain is unbearable, but pain no longer matters. If I stop now, Jay and I both die. Lars is still distracted by the darkness. Before he realizes what's happening, I grab the handgun lying on the floor and aim it straight at him. For the first time all night, he's the one who's afraid. Then the front door flies open. Ash is back. He freezes the instant he sees me pointing a gun at his partner. His confidence disappears. He doesn't want Lars getting hurt. Jay sees the hesitation too. Without thinking, she lunges toward Ash, trying to knock the nail gun out of his hands. The weapon fires. A single nail shoots across the room. It slams directly into Lars's forehead. Everything stops. Lars stumbles backward, confused. He reaches for the nail protruding from his head before collapsing onto the floor. Ash rushes toward him. He tries pulling the nail out, but the movement only drives it deeper. Within seconds, Lars is dead. Ash stares at his partner in disbelief. For the first time all night, the man who controlled everything completely loses control. That's all the opportunity one need. I grab Jay's hand, and together we sprint outside into the blizzard. My car is still parked nearby. We dive inside, lock the doors, and I immediately start the engine. Behind us, Ash storms out of the visitor center. He's no longer thinking. He's hunting us. As I slam my foot on the accelerator, gunshots explode behind the car. One bullet shatters the rear window. Another blows out one of the tires. The steering wheel jerks violently in my hands. The car spins across the icy road before crashing into a snowbank. For a moment, everything goes silent. Ash slowly walks toward us through the falling snow. Then, instead of coming to the car, he walks back to the visitor center. Seconds later, flames burst through the windows. He's destroying every piece of evidence. The entire building becomes an inferno. Before Ash can return, flashing blue and red lights suddenly appear through the storm. A police officer. My emergency message finally worked. The officer orders Ash to step away from the vehicle with his hands raised. Ash immediately changes his expression. Within seconds, he transforms from a murderer into a frightened victim, pretending he's the one who needs help. The officer hesitates. He doesn't know who to believe. I can't let Ash fool him. Using every ounce of strength I have left, I reach for the handgun inside the car and fire. I miss. The officer hears the shot and instinctively fires back. A burning pain tears through my stomach. I've been hit. Everything begins spinning. Ash wastes no time. He grabs my gun and shoots the officer before he can react. The officer collapses into the snow. Ash isn't finished. He picks up the nail gun and drives several nails into the fallen officer, making sure he can't survive. Then he turns toward me. I'm bleeding, barely conscious, completely defenseless. Ash slowly raises the gun. He's smiling. He thinks he's won. As he leans closer, he never notices the screwdriver lying beside me. I wrap my fingers around it. Wait. One. Final. Second. Then I drive it straight into his throat. Ash staggers backward, desperately trying to stop the bleeding. He takes only a few steps before collapsing into the snow beside the people he'd murdered. Finally, he's gone. But my fight isn't over. My vision fades as I crawl across the frozen ground toward the fallen officer. Every movement feels impossible. The radio clipped to his uniform is only a few feet away, yet it might as well be miles. After what feels like forever, my hand finally reaches it. I press the emergency button and whisper for help before collapsing beside it. Everything goes black. More than a month later, I wake up somewhere I never expected to see again. The rehabilitation center. I'm alive. The nightmares haven't disappeared. Neither have the scars. As I unpack my things, I notice a child's drawing hanging on my wall.
Jay.
She kept her promise. She never forgot me. A gentle knock comes from the door. A nurse smiles and tells me I have a visitor. I walk into the lobby and freeze. Devin is standing there. For a long moment, neither of us speaks. Then she smiles. It's small, but it's real. After everything we've lost, maybe this is where healing finally begins. That night, I couldn't save everyone. I couldn't save my mother. I couldn't erase my past.
But I saved Jay.
And for the first time in a very long time, I finally found a reason to save myself. That was my story. I couldn't save everyone. I couldn't change the past.
But I survived.
And sometimes, that's enough. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to Final Rule Official, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. I read as many of them as I can, and I'd love to hear what you think.